depending on how much I save into my 401k, whatever vehicle, will I have 3 million in that vehicle when I'm 60? Like, the sexy stuff people want to talk about, it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
But the thing that holds people back the most is the not sexy stuff. You can leave your kids all the money in the world, but if you don't teach them what to do with it, it's meaningless.
What's that?
How long did it take you?
So I went for 2 hours and 5 minutes straight. Yeah. It was a long time. But you get to a certain point, like, I looked at my watch and I was like 4 miles in, which is like the most I'd done. And then I was like, okay, if I just get to this like next checkpoint, then it just keeps going. And at one point, it's just like you're like a robot.
Yep.
And your brain's just shut off. I didn't even use headphones. I just like to like just listen to nature and my breath. And it was just like, I was just a robot at one point.
I get that. I do get that.
And my breathing was just like perfect. And my knees are sore today, though. My knees are like,
you gotta work yourself up.
Yeah, that's what my dad said. He's like, dude, why would you just go for that right away? You should have like trained for it.
I definitely should have trained.
One of my buddies slid up on my story and was like, dude, did you train for this? Like, those are pretty good numbers. And I was like, no, I just went for it. Wow. I just tried it. So
you weren't far off. Like, a good marathon time was like a sub 4 hour.
Okay.
You weren't like that far off.
If I kept going to the marathon, if I just kept that pace. Yeah, because you had 2 hours. My girlfriend's brother, he did a half marathon in an hour 30, like a week or two ago. He was at a 7-minute pace.
No way.
And I was like, dude, I was at a 9:30.
No way.
And I felt like I was like, because I didn't walk at all. Like, I was just the straight jog the whole time.
Did you run like a loop or?
No, so I didn't. I don't know which direction did you come from out of my neighborhood. Okay, that way. Okay, so I went the other way. And then I go up this road that's about like a mile, then back and then down and then up another neighborhood. And then I go back up that again and then back to the house, and that's 4 miles. So I did that 3 times, and then I did one street twice to like get to that.
You had something tracking?
Miles. Yeah, I had the watch. Yeah. I don't have an Apple Watch, but I was like, Mom, I got to wear the Apple Watch because I want to see what I'm going to do here. So
I definitely get that. Yeah.
It was fun.
I would never do that.
Yeah, it was fun, but it was challenging. I want to do a full marathon.
How do you feel today?
Not bad.
How old are you?
22. Just the knees, dude. I woke up in the middle of the night like 2 times and was like, my knees hurt.
Definitely.
I was thinking, because I remember like seeing in high school the track players that would like saran wrap the ice to their knee.
Yep.
I was like, that's going to be me all day today.
Definitely.
And then I woke up, I was like, it's not that bad. Going up and down stairs is like, my leg feels like it's going to break in half.
It'll get worse tomorrow, I think.
You think so?
Yeah.
I got like 12 lawns to do tomorrow. So
DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness.
Mm.
That's a real thing.
It better not happen to me tomorrow.
You say you had lawns?
Yeah, I have a lawn care business, so I have
nice.
like,
is that what you do?
Yeah, that is another thing I do, and then I have a wake surf lessons business too.
A what?
Wake surf lessons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, have you done the wake surfing before?
Yes.
Okay.
Behind a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've stood up and let go of the rope and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing crazy. I can stand on my own 2 feet. That's about it. But I mean, I have an athletic background. Like, I can pick things up.
Yeah.
I do them. I'm not good I'm not that guy
Okay.
who's good right away.
Yeah.
But like, I get the reps. Like, I'll get good at it.
Okay.
Especially if it involves like coordination and balance and stuff. Like, I can pick it up.
Yeah, so you can pick it up pretty quick. So yeah, the lawn care and that are like the main 2 businesses. So surf lake country and then turf lake country. So let's surf and turf.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Action.
Right on.
Yeah, so that's gonna start ramping up here. We just put the boat in like a week or 2 ago.
Or how do you like market that?
Mostly it's from like boat dealerships like Skipper Buds. So we're partnered with Skipper Buds, and then so like refer people to us that are maybe looking to buy a surf boat that are like, hey, we're going to try it before buying the boat.
Oh, really?
Type of thing.
Nice.
So yeah, so people come out to like see what the new boat, because we get a new boat every 2 years, a new Mastercraft. So they get to see kind of what like the new boats are. No, so we buy it and then we resell it.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How much do boats depreciate?
A decent amount. That's why we're partnered with them. So we get a discount, but they depreciate a lot.
What do you mean?
So like Surf Lake Country, we're partnered with Skipper Buds. So like we promote Skipper Buds type of thing. If people are looking to buy a boat, like I refer customers to them, and vice versa. Like they'll refer customers to me if they're like wanting to get lessons on it. So probably half my clientele is people that buy the boat, but then they don't know how to use it. So I've got a bunch of clients that are like, never done it before. We just bought the boat and we need people or somebody to like teach us. So like last year I had Craig Council bought a surf boat and they didn't know how to use it or anything. So like I went out with their family, taught them how to drive the boat, use all the technology,
Really?
and then teach them how to surf too.
No shit.
Yeah.
What a business.
Yeah. It's an interesting business. But the tough thing is the depreciation on the boats for that end of the company where the people come on our boat. Because if you go on other people's boat, that's just straight money from there.
Whatever. It's not your boat.
Right. And I'm not paying for gas and nothing. Yeah, you just show up and do it. So that part of the business is awesome.
I never thought about that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's the thing about America, man. There's so much opportunity
Right?
anywhere. Like
Yeah.
Like who would have thought about that?
Mm-hmm.
And you have a partnership. So you literally get a new boat every 2 years.
Yeah. So we buy it, but then we have to resell it. And the reselling part,
Resell it to skipper butts?
no. Till we find somebody, which can be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the past two deals were actually really cool. So the 2 years ago boat, we sold to somebody in Texas. And then part of the deal was like, I go down to Texas and teach them how to use it, surf and stuff, because they'd never done it before too. So that was a cool deal. And then this past one went to Nashville. So we went down there this past Easter.
Same deal?
Same thing. Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty cool, actually, dude.
Yeah.
Do you ever, like, document that at all?
What, like for what?
Any content? Any?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you do?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got TikTok, Facebook, Instagram.
It's like great marketing and advertising is just, like, actually doing it.
Yeah.
It's so unique.
That's
really cool.
Yeah, something I didn't think of. We had a customer come out. He was the co-owner of Huck Fishing Gear.
Mhm.
And he said that like an interesting marketing thing that I should do is like go to hotels and tell them about it, because like their activity directors or like concierge could tell clients about like, hey, you're looking for like a fun activity, like go try this.
That's pretty cool, actually.
So I've been trying to do that. So I hit up a few hotels and like left brochures type of thing.
Right on. Good for you.
Yeah,
So you didn't go to college?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I went to 2 years at WCTC, 2 years at UW Stout.
Okay. And
Mm-hmm. And just doing the businesses.
good for you. Do you agree?
Yeah,
Mhm.
bachelor's in business.
Yeah, that's right on.
Yeah. How about you? Did you go to college?
Yeah, undergrad in general management, and then I got a master's in athletic administration.
Okay.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
I was in my past life. I was a college soccer coach.
Okay.
So so in anything collegiate athletics, you need a master's.
Really?
Doesn't have just a master, like master's in English, master's in biology, whatever.
Yeah.
Just a master's, because if you're gonna be at that level, like apparently I've just interpreted, this isn't like set in stone. You need to have a degree of the population that you're working with. Generally,
Okay.
it's like a very broad thing to say, but so my senior year, I played soccer my whole life, so I didn't know what I really wanted to do, but I was always good-ish is a relative term, but good at soccer. And I was a goalie, so I very much had like leadership traits.
Mm-hmm.
People would always come to me. I was always leading them, whatever. And I said to my coach, beginning of my senior year at Whitewater, I was like, hey, I think I want to like be a college coach. I'm pretty sure I need my master's degree. I'm like a very blue collar person from like Waukesha, Wisconsin. Like I don't have my parent, like I'm not a trust fund. My parents don't have money set aside. Like they got me this far. Like It's me now, the way out.
Yeah.
I want to be a grad assistant. Do you know what a grad assistant is?
No.
So it's basically in an athletic department, there's all the athletic teams in the athletic department. There's compliance. There's athletic training. There's regulatory. In each department, each team has a staff.
Yeah.
Assistant head, whatever. And sometimes part of the structure is, rather than having an assistant coach with a full-time salary, benefits, etc., they just say, well, you can have a grad assistant, and the athletic department just pays for that individual's education.
Okay.
And their job is to be the assistant coach of the team. So it actually saves the university a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to do that. I don't know where, but like I just need to get a master's paid for.
Yeah.
And I need experience.
Uh-huh.
So like basically wherever I can go to get those two things, men's or women's, I don't even care at this point.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to be on the men's side, but I was like, I just need to get my foot in. That's it. Then he looked at me dead in the eyes like, well, what's it going to take for you to do that here? Then I literally said, pay for my education.
Yeah. That's what everybody else is going to do. So you do it.
And then he's like, all right, well, let's make it happen. So we made this ad hoc position. It wasn't like a structured, formalized position.
Okay.
Basically funded the graduate assistant position through entrepreneurial routes, like when the program puts on camps, fundraisers, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
That funded my education. And I was in-state. So I in-state graduate degree, which at the time was like $9,000 a year. I'm probably more now, right?
Yeah.
But so yeah, I got my tuition paid for. I had to pay the rest. Room, groceries, I had to pay for all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did that. That paid my tuition, and then I had an on-campus job working like the equipment room where people check like tennis rackets and basketballs out and stuff like that.
Okay.
For, like recreation, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I also coached club, FC Wisconsin.
Okay. Yeah.
I served as the director of goalkeeping there for 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and my connection there was I was at Milwaukee my freshman year. My college coach, my assistant coach there, left after my freshman year to go be the director of coaching. That it was FC Milwaukee, now rebranded as FC Wisconsin.
Okay.
So I had a really good relationship with him. So that's how my in was at that club.
Yeah.
So like my whole life, I like balanced like numerous roles, numerous responsibilities, athletes, education. Like I like inadvertently like learned how to manage my time.
Yeah.
Really well. But yeah, that's kind of like the quick story, if you will,
yeah.
kind of how it went. But yeah, I was born and raised Waukesha West High School. Didn't go super far. Went to Milwaukee freshman year, Whitewater sophomore year, graduated, played soccer there, and then I got my master's degree. And then after that, I was the assistant coach for 3 years. And then I went to be the head coach at Rockford University.
Okay.
So like Rockford, Illinois.
Yeah.
Schools like Concordia, Wisconsin, MSOE, Dominican University, St. Norbert's, like that's that conference.
Okay.
You've heard of those schools, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That they played in that conference. In Rockford, it was like 10 out of 12, 11 out of 12 conference. So I took the job, because I wanted it.
Yeah.
I figured like I can't fail. They're already failing.
Yeah, it's already bad.
So whatever I do is improvement. And I took it because like I always tell people in my role now, like everyone wants experience, but no one wants to give experience. Like as an employer.
Yeah.
Entry level, 5 years minimum.
Right.
It's like, for what?
Yeah.
So I was like, I took that role because I could only go up. And after 2 years of that, I kind of just like had this like figure of speech look in the mirror of like, this sucks. I was really good at it. Hated it.
Huh.
Very interesting dynamic. And
Yeah.
never thought the thing that I loved so much, soccer, would turn into that.
Yeah.
And then after that experience, I was jarred. I was like, God. So this whole like follow your passion thing that we're like fed,
Mm-hmm.
it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just my experience. It's different for someone else. Whatever. But like for me, it was like, man, like I gotta, because I got that job in January of 18. I proposed in March of 18. We bought a house in July of 18. We got married July of 19 in Waukesha. Waukesha to Rockford, 70 plus miles one way.
Yeah.
5-6 days a week. When I was club coaching, so that's weekends, and it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Making like maybe 50, maybe.
Yeah, not even liking it. Yeah.
No, dude, but I was good at it. So, but then I just remembered my cousin works at home office. Man, she should get royalty. Like every time I talk about this, I reference her. But, I called her one day because she works at home office, so she started in the role I'm in at NM.
Okay.
As a rep. One way or another didn't work out, so she transitioned from the quote field as an advisor to like downtown the tower.
Yeah.
That's home office.
Gotcha.
She transitioned to home office and like worked her way up.
Okay.
She's now a bigwig, as I call it. The next level for her is like VP.
Gotcha.
She's up there.
Yeah.
But at the time when I called her years ago, she wasn't there. But I was like, hey, because she was my cousin, because I'd always see her throughout the year, Christmas, holidays, whatever. She'd always be like, hey, so I think you should really look at this role with NM, like the advisor role.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd always say, like, thanks, no thanks. Because at the time, I was young, graduate assistant. Whitewater was a top 25 program.
Mm-hmm.
They are still like in and out of it now, but like they were good programs. So on my resume, it looked good. And then once I was an assistant coach, like again, still looks really good. And then I moved on to be head coach of like this very like middle of the road D3 program.
Yep.
Which is neither here nor there. But I was like 24 and I was a head coach.
Yeah, that's young.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, thanks, but no thanks. Like, I know I got a long way to go, but like, I'm on a good path. Right? Like, I was on the path, like, who knows, mid-30s, I could be like a D1 head coach.
Yeah.
Or something of the sorts. And then one day, it was fall of 19 sometime, I just picked up the phone and I was like, we got to talk, dude. Like, I don't know what role you keep, like, kind of just plugging me about.
Mm-hmm.
We just got to talk, whatever it is.
What made you think to reach out to her versus other people?
Because the name Northwestern Mutual, in terms of an opportunity, is always there.
Okay.
For years. Just like very casually in the background.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't really notice the wall, the paint on the wall and the color of the wall until one day it's like, hey, check out, look, it's kind of like black.
Yeah.
Until it's like you're drawn to it.
Right.
And then one day it's just like something happens and you're like, I'm really good at what I do. I don't like it. Like, what's going to change? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't see myself getting better and all of a sudden liking it. Like, I just don't see that because like, I think a lot of it had the context of like the school I was at, number one. Like, I had no conviction, like promoting, recruiting, looking parents in the eyes and saying, this is the best choice for your kid.
Yeah.
I know like 3 other schools down the road are better.
Right.
I had no conviction around it. It was really hard to recruit. Just the school was not attractive. It's growing. It's trying to change that, but it takes time. Support for the program, funding for the program, basically the do more with less type of support.
Yeah.
And the hardest part for me was like, just feel the team. Just get kids here.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck that. I want to win.
Right.
Like, if I got to have a roster of 20 and we go 10-7, I'll take that versus a roster of 36 and going like 2-14.
Right. Yeah. You just need the better players. Yeah.
I'm a winner. Like, I came from a top 25 school.
Right.
Like, literally, we were never not top 25 my entire career. So like, when you're at the top, it takes a lot to stay at the top.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was D3, so throughout it. But going there, like, it was a culture shift for me in just how they view things in that lens. And I remember walking, because I don't know what Stout is, but like the University Center, the like a Whitewater's campus is called University Center. It's like the focal point where like the cafe is and where everyone go, like this hub. I forgot what that was called at Rockford, but the athletic department was in the basement of that place. Number one.
Okay.
And I remember in the men's soccer coach's offices was all the way down the hall in the basement. So you had to go down the basement, down this long dark hall. The lights were like, literally lights were like a horror movie flicker on and off. And like, it just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just remember one day like walking down there and I was just looking left and right and I passed the football office, the basketball, the women's basketball, the baseball. So I passed all these coaches' offices and I'm looking around and I saw a lot of people that looked like me, meaning they were young, or they were like 52 years old. They were there for like 25 years.
Yeah.
There was like no in between.
Okay.
No in between tenure. And like, that was the moment I was like, I gotta get the fuck out. Like, this is a black hole. If I don't get out now. That's when I called my cousin, my advisor, he's not my best friend now just because we've like grown apart, but like really good friend at the time was my advisor. And I called him because me and him played together in the same club team same everything. Travel around the country, all the same deal. And I was like, where did I go wrong? We're the same age. You're killing it. I'm apparently killing it, but I hate everything about this life. Like,
Yeah.
what do I got to do?
Mm-hmm.
And then that was a great conversation that like encouraged me to like the catalyst of like, dude, get out of this. Like, go. Like, there's more out there. Because my whole life at that point was like soccer, college sports, blah, blah, blah. And so then I talked to my cousin. She introduced me to someone, so on, so on, so on. Those conversations led to me getting an opportunity to join the firm as an advisor.
Huh.
Yeah. So it was just like, it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
And there's this saying of like, this career finds you more than you find it. And like what I said about it was always there.
Yeah.
Right? Like, well, it was.
Uh-huh.
It always, like, the internship was there when I was a junior in college.
Right.
And here I am, 26, 27, at this, like, crossroads. And they call people like me, when I say people like me, I mean people who didn't come from any sort of financial background to being an advisor.
Yeah.
So you were in car sales. You were a teacher, a fifth grade math teacher, whatever. You're a career changer, which I think is like the coolest term ever. It reminds me a lot of, this is kind of nerding out, junk bonds or like high yield debt, which is basically like debt from shitty companies. But like I was a career changer. So I was just like super raw, didn't know anything, always liked money. Who doesn't? Intrigued by it. It was super confusing though. It was always like super elusive and confusing. It's like, are you only seeing the tip of the iceberg, which is like basic budgeting, don't spend more than you earn. Yeah. Save. Like you don't get the why, you don't get the purpose behind it. I basically like, I burned the ships. It had a plan B. I accepted the role on December 28th, 2019. To join the firm. December 29th, 2019, excuse me, the day after, I had 2 missed phone calls with 2 voicemails from the UW Eau Claire athletic director. Because earlier that fall of 19, Eau Claire was launching a men's soccer team in 2021. So they wanted to get a coach in there for 2020. Give them a full recruiting cycle to start in 21. Okay. And think about like my resume. I was young, so that means I had like grit. I wanted to grow. I was willing to work. They could probably pay me shit, but I'd still do a good job. Yeah. I had UW playing experience, like UW system. Yep. In-state, and I UW coaching experience. So I recruited kids to UW Whitewater. Right. Which was a very comparable on paper school to Eau Claire. Correct, right. And then I had 2 years of like tangible, results driven, proven head coaching experience at such a young age. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That was very attractive on paper. And wanted to interview me. Two voicemails in the span of like 4 hours. Finally played some phone tag, got a hold of them, had to like swallow my pride and like decline because like I applied for that job. I forgot I applied. Okay, so you did apply. I was gonna say, how did they even find you? Yeah, it was like September. Okay, like beginning of the school year. Yeah, like the cutoff was like end of September. November. So all of October, all of November, and then like almost December 29th of December. Like I forgot it. Yeah, I'm like someone. It's been a while. Yeah, you know, whatever. But that's when they just started interviewing people. How would I know? But whatever. And I had to decline it because the day before I just accepted. Yeah, the day after you started. But, yeah. You know, part of me thought like I'm really glad I did because I would have went from living in Watcher, working in Rockford to I would have had to move to Eau Claire. Okay, right. Starting a program and building something was like really attractive to me, but like I just kept thinking about what do I want my life to look like when I'm 30, 40, 50, 60, etc. And like the track of college coaching like just wasn't it. Yeah. Just wasn't. For me.
Okay.
Some people it is, not me. And so I really thought about it, and I shut it down immediately. But I thought about it, I was like, I would have accepted a job making maybe mid-50s, maybe. Getting a club job, so I'm breaking 60 a year. But I'm still running around like a fucking chicken with my head cut off. Because I don't even have a team. I have to you
got to build it.
I got to build it. So that means I'm joining a club. That means I'm gone literally all the time. Because I worked nights and weekends, which is like when you coach kids because they're high school aged.
Yeah.
And I play. So nights and weekends. But I also had a day job, doing stuff. I had to, you basically ran a business. You had a budget, you had operations, all the above. You're always planning and doing something. And then I had to go recruit kids, which is 92% of the job.
Yeah, right.
Without a team, you don't have so, and I was just always going. I was never home. I was not happy, kind of miserable. It didn't give much to anything socially, let alone my marriage. And I was just there's got to be more than this. This is not okay. So, I just made my way out, essentially.
But some people that might be attracted to that lifestyle of running around if they're obsessed with soccer. I don't know.
Honestly, if I was a single dude, I don't know if I would have had that push to get out, because I didn't even tell you about my wife. She's my high school sweetheart.
Okay.
The first, there's that. Only girl I remember the first time I saw. Fun fact. So, but she's a hairstylist. So what I said about I would have to move to Eau Claire. At that point, she was 5 years into her career.
Right, and you establish a base here.
And so I'm like, all right, so think about this. Got to sell the house that we just bought. Start a new job with a lot of uncertainty. You're not inheriting anything.
Yeah.
You're literally built. You're going to probably have support, but you got nothing. Her reoccurring clientele, say goodbye, got to move that. So she got to rebuild herself. And if we do have kids, we're 3 and change hours away from family.
Yeah.
Making how much more?
Right.
The trade-off just wasn't there at all for me. So I'm glad that it didn't work out. Yeah, she's a hairstylist. In 2020, she left the salon. She was working at W2 to go rent a chair. She did that for 2 years. Then she rented a suite for 1 year.
Okay.
Right off Pewaukee Beach, basically.
Okay.
And then, long story short, we've got some space in downtown Oconomowoc and built it out to be a salon. And she's the salon owner of Sandra Grove Hair Salon and rents out chairs. And so she works behind the chair too.
Yeah, very cool.
She got quote 2 businesses of renting chairs and then working behind a chair.
Right.
So yeah, she kills it.
Do they do just hair there or other stuff too?
Just hair.
Gotcha, just hair. Very interesting. My sister just went back to school to do nails.
Oh, nice.
And she just graduated, so she's in the process of finding a spot to do it type of thing, whether she wants to open her own place and rent out chairs or find a suite type of thing. So
I would advocate for doing something on her own.
Yeah, right.
It's the American dream, dude.
Yeah, that's what she's been saying. And we're well, you got to build a clientele, maybe start working somewhere for a year or two, and then
that's what Sierra did.
Branch off. Yeah.
5 years. Probably, I don't know an exact number, but it was more than what she anticipated followed her.
Okay.
Which I think is a testament.
Yeah.
Because the place that she was at in Brookfield, they were salon clients. They weren't Sierra clients. So if Sierra was available, they'd go see this.
Right.
Or something. Yeah. They were a salon client. But it was kind of cool to see when she moved to renting, and then she moved to a suite, and then she moved again to opening her own space. It's cool to see the people that followed her. It's kind of she was building a following,
right?
And she would leave, people follow. She'd build a following. You leave, good amount would follow. You leave, a good amount. It was kind of cool to see it spiral. And yeah, she's 13 years in the game now.
Okay,
and she's 31. She'll be 31 in June 11th. She kills it, dude.
Yeah, she's built loyalty, loyal customers at least.
She has a great job.
Were you and her always good at personal finances?
Transparently, I think she's better.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That gets into the topic of psychology of money a little bit. So whenever I work with clients, anyone can understand. I want to know the X's and O's, the numbers, income, debt, budget, blah, 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 the numbers, the easy objective stuff. But I always tell my clients who say like, sometimes we're like, all right, so how much? I'm like, well, let's think about this. Let's say you take your car to a mechanic and you pull up and you get out and say, I need you to fix it. He goes, okay. And then you go, so how much?
Mm-hmm.
What's that mechanic going to say to you? What's wrong?
Yeah.
Let's take a look. Like, I have no idea. This might be a $42 oil change. It might be $4,000 for transmission. I have no idea.
Right.
So that's what I explain to people. But I always tell them, I have no idea how to manage your money. More importantly, manage you. If I have no idea what it's in service to, but also if I know the why behind what you want to do, I will make how we get there meaningful. I will. But I gotta know that.
Yeah.
Like, you could send me these numbers in a freaking email, dude. Like, that's the easiest stuff to gather. But for some people, like, well, how do I log into my portal to get my statement? Like, whatever. You'll figure it out. Reset your password. I want to know you.
Yeah.
I want to know how you were brought up. Like, what's your most notable experience with money? Because, like, going back to Sierra is having money, being reliant on yourself. Like, she moved out at 18. And she came back home for stints, but no longer than, like, 9 months at a time. Maybe twice, tops.
Okay.
She was always on her own. So, like, all she had was her. So her psychology of money, let alone her upbringing from birth until 18, which is another rabbit hole, dramatically different than mine. I'll put it there. But, like, how maybe someone might remember at dinner, a common theme was dad was like, all right, $10 budget. So, like, when you look at the menu, you can't get anything that's more than $10. That impacts big picture when you're an adult, how you think about money.
Yeah.
How you view it. So, like, for me, I had and this sounds really bad, but I mean this in the most, like, complimentary way. I had, like, such a middle of the road upbringing. Nothing was traumatic. Nothing was overwhelming, over the top amazing. It was just, like, very guided.
Yeah.
Very safe. I felt secure. My parents probably didn't. Now that, like, I'm a mature adult and, like, know money and get it and stuff, like, like, 08, my dad lost his job. I was 15 and joined a traveling soccer team that had, like, pretty high club fees and then hotels, travel, blah, blah. It wasn't cheap.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
So I can only imagine what that was like for them. But they always just kind of, the blue collar mentality of, like, these are the cards we're dealt. How do we get out every ounce of potential from this situation and make the absolute most of it?
Yeah.
But I always felt secure and safe and fine and stable, etc. So, like, how I view and manage my money nowadays, I don't have this ingrained scarcity mentality. You know, I mean, sure you do at some point, right? Because, like, everyone, like, your bank account drops, you're like, shit, and get low. Like,
yeah,
everyone's got that. But I mean, like, psychologically, how I view and feel about money, it's different from her.
Right.
And so there's two ends of the spectrum of, like, well, hoarding money is good in one manner, but then hoarding money in another manner is, like, not good.
Right.
Because, like, you can have too much of it and it's sitting there doing absolutely nothing for you. Which is, like, it's not growing with inflation, blah, 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 whatever. But you have it, and it's, like, safe. It's secure.
Right.
You know it's there. You can get it. Like, so have I always been good at personal finance? Yeah, I think so. For the most part, just understanding basic X's and O's, and when you take out a loan, that means you got to pay it back.
Yeah.
Like, credit, how credit works. You know, very high level surface stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I remember to this day sitting in my mom's office at home, electronically signing my promissory note for my student loans. I don't even know if you remember that. Like, I remember that.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, in my mind, I was like, okay, this is the amount that I'm going to be paying back once I graduate over the course of 10 years. Like, I remember thinking that.
Yeah.
and I don't want to say I get baffled because the cost of education is just absurd and that's not someone's fault. But when people have 80, 100, 200, 250 of college student loan debt, I just want to, like, sometimes I want to just look at, be like, what were you thinking? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like,
well, and then they go get a job that has nothing to do with their degree, and it's like, wait, why did you go to school?
and that's another, like, side to, like, my approach as an advisor, I think, with people is like, here's the deal. I play soccer a lot, so I view a lot of things as a game. Well, how do we win the game of financial planning? Because I don't like invest. That's a part of financial planning, but it's a bigger picture. Well, we win this by, like, when you retire, you have guaranteed and tax-free money. Sounds pretty good. Would you agree? Okay, cool. Well, that's what we're going to do. If it doesn't have that in mind at the end, we shouldn't probably do it. Is that fair? Yeah, okay. So it's elementary, but, like, that's the North Star. And what are the rules of this game? Every sport has rules. Soccer, I was a goalie. I have my own box. I have my own field within a field. I wear a different color jersey. I can use my hands, but only in that box.
Right.
Like, I have rules. There's rules to every game.
Yeah.
This game, taxes. Oh, and by the way, the rules can change. The tax code right now is going to change in December of 25. Like, it's going to sunset. Like, that is going to happen. So that's, imagine soccer, 3 of the other players on the field, all of a sudden next year, FIFA just is like, hey, these 3 players can use their hands now. You know, like,
it'd be crazy. Yeah.
like, that's a different game.
Yeah.
That's exactly how financial planning is. When you think of it, you know, and so I'm like, okay, my objective with clients, have you heard of the show Punked? Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. I don't know the gist of it, though.
Essentially, like, he would set up scenarios and, like, they'd be, like, over the top ridiculous, like, really bad situations. And then he'd come out and be like, hey, it's a joke. You're pumped.
I've seen one.
Like, my objective with my clients is, like, I didn't agree to all these rules. So, for example, go to college, pick what you want to do for the rest of your life, pay for it with money you don't have, get a job if you're lucky, because everyone wants and no one wants to give experience. And then all of a sudden you pay your student loans 6 months later, because that's what happens. And then you buy a car because you start making real money. And then you want to buy a house, so you got to save for that. So you just get this, like, your income slowly goes up, but your debt slowly goes up as well.
Yeah.
So it's like this illusion of feeling free because you make more money, but you just incur more expenses, aka more debt. So you spend these pivotal 18 to 25-year-old time frame, very crucial, I would argue, for, like, anyone's human development, pouring into yourself, getting education in hopes that you make enough to pay off your debt and then get ahead and then retire and live a good life.
Right.
Oh, and when you start working, IRS is takes 20% of everything.
Yeah.
Fuck happened? Like, I didn't agree to this.
Right, yeah.
And so my objective is to, like, punk the game. Like, there's tax codes and there's rules that I think a lot of people just don't know about.
Yeah.
They just don't know the rules. It's not their fault. Why do you think they don't teach us all this stuff about how money works?
Right.
I don't know. Seems like a design to me.
Yeah.
That's a conspiracy theory. So I'm fucking crazy. But, like, I want to guide clients to, like, educate them on the pros and cons so they feel empowered to make actual decisions. Because you've probably experienced this in your life. I know I have, where it's like, I don't know enough to even make any decision on this.
Right, yeah.
So what do? You just don't make a decision. You just do nothing at all, which is inaction.
Right.
And the only opposite is action.
Yeah.
So my job is to educate you to get you to that point to where you feel empowered enough to take action, whether that's make the decision because of XYZ, or you decide to forego it for XYZ, or it's just not the right time for you.
Yeah.
Whatever the case is, it's in your court. You now have the information. I hear it so many times where people are like, oh, I'm thinking about it. Oh, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
When in reality, this is my firm belief, you aren't thinking about it. You're tricking yourself to thinking you're being productive by saying you're thinking about it.
Totally.
In hopes that you acquire more information or education to know enough to make that decision.
Yeah.
So the reality is you just don't know enough to make a decision. So let me talk to you.
And sometimes it's just not the right time, too. And if people just want to move on.
You're fucking 22, dude. Like, let's wait till you're 25 and, like, you're on your own 2 feet and, like, whatever. Like, it's cool. Like, this is a marathon, not a sprint. So that's that's where I come in. Like, I just feel like a lot of people have this stereotype in their mind of an advisor, and there are bad apples out there.
Mm-hmm.
There are, just like there are in any industry.
Yeah.
Everyone's heard the car salesman. Like, everyone heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to be sold anything.
Yeah.
People want to be educated so they can make decisions. And I think the best in anyone, because I'm in a sales role, I'm not naive. Anyone in a sales role does a good job of informing people so they can make a decision. I think there's like a fiduciary level to my role. Is like, well, this is what you need to do because of what you told me, the why behind the what.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how we get there. And this is what I would do for these 19 reasons.
Yeah.
If I were you.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's where the fiduciary part comes into, where it's like a client to a personal trainer.
Uh-huh.
If that person who you're paying for their time and expertise, if you don't feel challenged by them, I would argue that they're not doing their job for you, which you're paying them to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you should feel a little bit challenged by your trainer. You should, in whether it's mentally, spiritually, psychologically, physically, emotionally, whatever it is, nutrition, whatever. Like, all right, so here's seven days, 21 meals, 3 each day. Okay, here's the meal plan. Come back in a week later. All right, of the 21 meals you were supposed to eat, how many did you eat? Like 7. Okay, what happened to the other 14? Blah, blah, whatever, some excuse.
Uh-huh.
What do you expect me to do for you at that point?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like, you didn't even do half.
Uh-huh.
You know, and it's the same thing in my role, and obviously there's money, so it's a little different, but you should feel challenged by your advisor.
Mm.
You should. Because what are you paying them for?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to manage this time and get nothing out of it from a business owner, me personally.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not helping you achieve your goals, what are we doing here? Like, what's the point? Are we just getting beers? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know? So I think a lot of people out there, like, it's just a lack of understanding of what it means to engage with an advisor or work with someone. I truly think there's a misunderstanding. They always think they're going to be sold something. And here's the thing, like, you know if you're going to like the person and trust the person probably within 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, boat, you go to a boat dealer, you talk to the boat salesman or whatever they are, and within 5 or 10 minutes, you're like, you're full of shit.
Yeah, right.
Or you can smell it conceptually. It's the same thing, right? And, like, it doesn't have to be this big thing. So, would you ever buy a house without a realtor?
No, because you know nothing.
Probably not. That's my guess. Most people don't know 99% of what goes into buying a house.
Right.
Why would you do the same thing with your retirement? Mm-hmm. Which isn't a singular transaction, by the way. It's supposed to be for like 30 years. Mm-hmm. With like Social Security and Medicare and long-term care and like leaving money. Like, dude, that's a lot. Mm-hmm. Why would you wing that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's where I get so caught up in, like, why won't you work with an advisor? Why won't you take 15 minutes to we don't even have to talk about anything.
Uh-huh.
Just like let me introduce myself to you so you can get a gauge of, like, do I like you? We don't even need to talk about anything. Because you got to like the person, you got to trust the person. So that's where I get caught up a lot with people is they're so closed off. But I think it comes from the misconceptions and stereotype, which is justifiably fair.
Right. Yeah.
It is. Like, it's a psychology of, like, how they were brought up. Mm-hmm. Some people are super, like, reserved and conservative and, like, not open about laundry list of topics, health, wealth, whatever. Some people are complete opposite. My guess is those two people had dramatically different, like, upbringings or were exposed to different things, etc. So, like, my job is, like, get to that to figure out how to manage you and work with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just can't get through to people too.
Right.
Like, that's just the truth.
Well, I was going to say, like, somebody might not even know what their goals are. Like, they don't even know what they want their future to look like. And I'd assume in your role, it's like, what? Like, what do we do then? I don't know what to do from here.
Well, I don't expect people to know what they want their retirement to look like in 2 years. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Right? I can tell you what I want in 3 years. Start there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, do you want to run out of money when you're retired?
Yeah. No way.
Okay. So here, let me grab some information from you, numbers. Let me get an idea of who you are, your motivations, what makes you tick, just like you. And then I'll run an analysis. It'll be a rough draft. You're like 30 years old, dude. You got another literal lifetime ahead of you until you retire.
Right.
But I'm just gonna leverage this plan and make some pretty conservative estimates, taxes, inflation, rate of return, blah blah blah. But this plan is like going to serve as like a foundation to have some sort of meaningful conversation at least.
Right.
Rather than you just telling me some things and me going, cool, throw some shit at the wall and see what sticks. You know what I'm saying? And so I just truly believe if everyone will work with an advisor. Everyone will. Everyone. Firmly believe it. Doesn't mean now.
Yeah, at some point.
Because like when you're 58 and you're like, fuck, dude, I kind of want to retire soon. Like, all my colleagues are talking about when they're taking Social Security, and like, I never fucking thought about that.
Ever.
What about healthcare? If I want to retire early, what am I going to do until I can take Medicare? Like, there's all these small little things that, like, once you get near that end of your working career point, it's like, damn, there's a lot that I didn't think about.
Yeah, right.
And I think the coolest part is we can avoid all that by just starting now.
And planning, yeah.
It's planning. It's not investing. It's planning. And people need to like change their perspective on it. Because here's the thing too. So you're what, 22?
Yep.
I'm 31. So technically we're different generations. But like my generation, millennials, is like the populace per capita. I don't know if that's the right word. Is equal, give or take, in size of the next biggest, which is baby boomers. My parents.
Okay.
Essentially. 80 million, something crazy. There's going to be a huge transfer of wealth over the next 6 to 15 years, give or take, something like that. Huge transfer of wealth. Meaning like my parents inherit to like my generation.
Right.
And if my generation doesn't know anything about how money works, the average wealth that's passed on is gone in one, if not two, for sure, generations. 90% of the time.
Huh. Yeah. I saw a thing that was like, yeah, if you gave everybody the same amount of money, it'd end up in the same people's hands. Because the people just aren't educated and don't have the plan in place like some people do.
Yeah, and it's just, you can be educated all you want, but if you don't like apply the education, it's nothing.
Right.
That's knowledge. That's wisdom. And I think just like having smart people around you, people who understand you and your goals and actually have your best interests at heart, I think that's probably going to help.
Right.
You know? But there's this barrier, like we all have this as human beings outside of like the financial planning world of like just defense. Defense goes up. You're always on the defense.
Yeah.
You're secure, you're survival. Like that's our instinct. You trace back any fear, it always comes back to like death. Like any fear, if you just like, why, and then I'm dead. Like it always comes, that's very dramatic. But I think, I just firmly believe that everyone's going to work with someone.
Wow.
Everyone will. That's my conviction.
What do you think your ideal customer is to work with?
They're a client, not a customer. A customer never comes back.
Okay.
My ideal client, very surface high level, they listen.
Okay.
They listen. They ask questions. They want to know why I'm making some recommendation. They want to know how it works. They want to understand the ramifications of doing or not doing said recommendation. That would be like the traits of an ideal client. If we're getting more tactical, I'm not going to say like 300,000 a week. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
Like, that would be very granular.
Okay.
And I do have an ideal. I will say I generally work better with like people in IT.
Okay.
Which is very broad.
Yeah.
Healthcare. very broad. So that's administration, that's nurses, etc. Haven't cracked into doctors yet. They're too busy and they think they know everything.
Yeah.
Which they do.
Yeah.
About the body. Business owners or like entrepreneurs or quote sales, aka people with a variable income. Because mine and my wife, like my household is variable income. That that is all I know.
Yeah.
So in terms of planning for that long term, I'm living it.
Yeah.
And then just like dual income families. Mom and dad work, they got a kid, 3 kids, whatever. And they want to do the quote traditional stuff for their kids. They want to save for their kids' education. They want to be at Johnny's soccer games. You know, I do have the one-offs, like some professional athletes. I do have some one-off stuff too, but that would be the quote ideal for me.
Okay.
And obviously there's like legit, like if they make over 300,000, there's a household. Like, of course, like no duh, people will make money. Like, I'm not going to be naive to it. Like,
yeah.
But that's not what it's about for me. Honestly, I just believe like if I just do right by people, my objective with the experience I try to provide, and I say experience versus process, because experiences are not repeatable. They're unique. They're specific. They're customized. Processes aren't. My objective is to be unbelievably referable. Unbelievably. So I'll use me and Sierra as an example. Okanama, a couple doors down from the salon, is a seafood and steakhouse called Coco's. If you've heard of it.
I haven't, no.
It's right by Fowler Lake. Awesome.
Okay.
Phenomenal. 5-star. It's great. And since it was just down a couple doors from the salon, I was like, this place looks dope. Let's check it out. So we go there on a limb. I forgot why. I think we went as like celebration of opening the salon or something. Dude, it was awesome. And I just remember, I tell this story now. I remember leaving the place and like because like it was a date night. Like we left the place, walked around, blah, blah. And I remember once we left, I have my leftovers in my hand, on her hand. We're walking around, taking in, you know, downtown Okanawha on like a late fall night. Awesome. I remember talking about the dinner we just had like 30 minutes ago because it was so good. I remember weeks later being like, hey, Valentine's Day is coming up. We should go to Coco's.
Yeah.
Making plans to go back again. I even remember, because that was on a Friday that we went out, on Monday morning, coming back into the office to my colleagues being like, you got to check out Coco's. You got to check it out. I like couldn't help but talk about it. So my experience there is like a firsthand example of like, and this is ideal for any business. Be so good that people who buy whatever from you, they can't help but talk about you. They can't help but refer you. Right? Because like they didn't ask me to go and tell 3 of my colleagues, and guess what those 3 did? Right?
Yeah.
And then it repeats with those 3.
Right.
And it's like, that's my objective with my clients, is to have them have, and it's an experience, like, maybe this is an inflated ego I have, maybe. But the financial plan, the recommendations, the software, the investment proposals, the nitty gritty sexy stuff that people think about, I think almost anyone can do that. What I don't think almost anyone can do is translate how you feel in that first conversation, what you shared with them. I've had people get on calls and within 20 minutes just start crying about their divorce. Like, I just fucking met you.
Yeah, what?
You know what I'm saying? But like, that experience, they felt so comfortable, so open, so seen that they could get to that point with a stranger.
Yeah.
Virtually.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
like
crazy.
And that is something that carries on with the rest of our relationship. But that experience is what you then go and talk about. Is how I made you feel.
Yeah.
And how I talk to you, how I work with you, how I communicate with you, how I follow up with you, because that's different for everyone, you know. But I want to be so unbelievably referable that just like that experience I had at Coco's, that's what I want my clients to do. Because of course I am going to ask, who do you know? I noticed you're connected to these 3 people. I would love to introduce myself. Like, I'm going to ask you for referrals.
Yeah.
I'm always going to ask you, Mr. and Mrs. Client. I do not expect, because it is not your job to grow my business.
Mm-hmm.
It's mine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
But what if I can be so good that you organically just help me?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's only positive. Furthermore, the other side of the coin, if you have a negative experience with me, you go to a shop, whatever, coffee, you eat, wherever, and you have like just an average experience. It's not great. It's not bad. If you're asked like, hey, would you come here again? You're like, I don't know, maybe not. You're kind of just like whatever about it. What do? You probably don't talk about it. Probably don't make plans to go back. Probably don't recommend it to other people.
Exactly.
But if you have a bad experience, what do?
Write a review.
You're
Talk
caring about it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, dude, get this. I went to this place. The customer service, dude, the waitress, it was terrible. You talk about it.
Right.
The same is true on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But I would argue that this negative that people talk about, it's twice as damaging as building or affirming as the positive word of mouth is.
Well, I think totally, yeah. Because people, like, if I have a bad experience, I'm going to write a review about it. But if I have a good one, I'm just like, I don't think about writing a review. I'll tell people like it was an awesome experience, but like I'm not going to go out of my way to write a review like, oh, this place was awesome. But I'll be like, oh, the hamburger was terrible here.
Yes,
like you'll go write a review.
And that's like a real world truth of exactly how it is.
Exactly.
And like this negative experience is going to travel so much faster than me telling my 3 colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And all that negative experience does for that person is advertise your business about your below average experience.
Yeah, right.
Twice as fast. Like that's all it does to me. So, and the being unbelievable of an unbelievably referral is like it's a long road.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work. So like think about if you're in some sales role, servicing oriented role. I heard this once and just put it into just total perspective. Imagine the marketing gods that has come down from heaven and they say, Hunter, all of your future clients can only come from this one relationship, from this one client. How would you treat that client? What would your follow-up? What would your cadence be? How would you start? How prepared would you be?
Yeah.
What questions would you ask? Like you go down the list. You get my point. You need to do that with everyone.
Yeah. Right.
Like that's what you need to do. And I think a lot of people aren't willing to do that with everyone. They're only willing to do it with certain people.
Yeah. Right.
And like, that's the part of like this entrepreneurship journey that's like, you just keep slaying and slaying and slaying and you see no tangible progress. You're slaying and slaying and slaying. You see no progress. But the thing is, the progress you're making, you're not seeing it. Like you are making progress because the hard work works on you more than you work on it. That itself is like the point of the hard work because all you're doing is like building yourself up to be more and more like tough, because I get paid to get told people no or get told no. Like that's how I view things.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine if everyone I called said yes? Like, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have a lot of like perspectives and opinions on stuff like that.
Besides people like just putting it off and like not wanting to talk about financial planning and just not even thinking about it, what would you think is one of the would be one of the most things that's something like that people need to work on, or like a mistake or problem that you see with a lot of individuals?
Not having enough saved up.
Okay.
Is like just a very tactical thing.
Saved up in like a savings account or like invested somewhere?
No, just straight up like money in your bank.
Okay.
I often see I see a lot of people underestimate the value of their future earning potential. So think about this. I'm 30 years old. Let's say I retire. I'm 60. Simple math. 30 years. I make $100,000. Okay. Over 30 years. No inflation, no nothing, just $100,000 every year. It's $3 million between now and 60. Okay. depending on how much I save into my 401k, whatever vehicle, will I have 3 million in that vehicle when I'm 60 between now and then? You got to save a lot.
Yeah.
So probably not.
Right.
Okay. Right now, at 30 years old, 31 years old, what is my most valuable asset? If I ask that to like a married couple or whatever, they'd probably say my house. Fair. My 401k. I had one guy say my wife. I was like, hey, it's hard, man. Right? But it's like, it's honestly none of those. It's your ability to earn your $100,000 every single year for the next 30 years. $3 million over your career. Now you're going to live, you have expenses, etc. But think about this. If you're not here, if you're not here, like you're gone, you don't exist, your family's missing out on that $100,000 for the next, maybe not even 30 years, 20 years, 15 years. That's 1.5. That's 2 million over that time frame. All you gotta do is be alive.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one piece. And then the other piece is, well, if you, worst case, something does happen to you and you are here, but you can't work, you can't earn $100,000. You get into a motorcycle accident, whatever. You get to watch all the destruction unfold in front of you, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
I think that's way worse. So they don't protect their income because they're 28, they're 32, my job's not risky, blah, blah, blah. I just had it the other day. Not a client, owns a window cleaning business. Like just bought it, like bought out a book of business. Younger dude, back half of his 20s. And he was cleaning and he just fell off a ladder. Busted up his shoulder, hit his head so hard he had a seizure.
Jeez.
Like dude's effed up.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's real. And it's a brick shit house, dude. He's like, he's not small. Bigger than me. And you've seen me. Like, I'm not small. I don't know what the rest of his life's going to look like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
can't predict that $100,000 every year.
So it's like, when you get in the car, do you think you're going to die? Probably not. Because if you did, you probably wouldn't get in the car. Okay. But my guess is you'd probably put your seatbelt on. Is that fair? Yeah, it's fair. Why? Why do you put your seatbelt on? Maybe it's because somewhere in driver's ed, you were just put your seatbelt on, whatever. And it's just a habit. I firmly think somewhere in the back of your mind, you put your seatbelt on because you know there's a small chance. Doesn't matter where you're going. Probably because like the thing dings at you to put your seatbelt on, right? Because you don't want to hear it.
Going, yeah.
But I think that's like a safety mechanism. Like you put your seatbelt on because 1 in 1,000 chance that might save your life. So for me, that's not a risk I'm willing to take.
Yeah, mitigate the risk. Yeah,
just put your seatbelt on.
Right.
It's the same thing. That's how I view protecting your income. It's like, why wouldn't you just wear your seatbelt when you get in the car?
Yeah.
Debt, protecting your income, and then just waiting. They just wait too long.
Yeah.
They just wait too long to start. They get caught in this like, when I get here, then. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, when you get there, it's going to change. Yeah, it's going to change again. Like something always pops up. Always. So that's why you got to have an advisor you trust and work with someone.
Yeah, and have a plan that you just continuously can do it. Like, same thing if you're working out. Like if you want to run a marathon, you got to keep doing a run every single week in order to get there.
I have a marathon training analogy I tell all the
time. Really?
Yeah. I'll share it with you.
Go for it.
Yeah. So let's say you want to run a 4-hour sub-marathon.
Okay.
We're talking. Okay.
I'm
like, you sure? That's pretty fast. Okay. Give me some time to like gather some thoughts. I'll come back to you. We come back. Okay. Here's the deal, Hunter. We're gonna run a shit ton. It's a 26-mile race, so get used to it. Okay. We're gonna hit the weight room. Hey, you're a tall dude, skinny. Like we're gonna put like mass. You're a good runner. You ran a half marathon, but my guess is if you ran another half marathon you'd probably go downhill pretty quick is my guess. So like wait. And then we're going to dial in your lifestyle. Okay. We're like, okay, cool. What are you doing? Let me talk to my wife. Whatever. You come back to me. All right, so Josh, I thought about it. Love running, all in on it. AirPods, podcasts, like that's great. Dude, I'm all in. Weight room, I actually always liked working out. Just never really knew what I was doing in the weight room. So I'm excited to have like my own tailored program. That's cool to me. That lifestyle thing, what do you mean by that? Like, what is that? That like what I eat and stuff? I'm like, yeah, it's exactly what it is. That's tough, man. Me and my wife like to party. I get a little buck wild. Like the Masters was just on. We got a little crazy. I got this cool little business. I take people out surfing. Like a mixed business and pleasure. Kind of get a little too much to drink sometimes. Company card. I go out and take clients out. Seafood steak. That's tough, man. I don't know if I can do that. I'm like, okay. So you're saying weight room? Check. Running? Check. Lifestyle? No bueno. Like, yes. I'm like, okay. Tell you what, Hunter. I will give you the best I can from a running program and weight training. I'll give you the best I can. You got to execute. I'll do the best I can. But just so you know, it's a May 28th. Next year, May 28th, you're running this marathon. At any point on this journey over the next 12 months, if you come to me, it's October, 6 months out, you're like, Josh, I can't hold my paces. I get to mile 5 and I just die. And then I go to the weight room and I got nothing. Like I'm not motivated. I'm tired. Is there anything else I can do? It's like, yeah. Remember that lifestyle thing we talked about?
Yeah, right.
Like I can all but guarantee, tell me I'm wrong. If you eat better food, you drink enough water, you get enough sleep, recover, and you stop being an idiot on the weekends.
Right.
That will make you a better athlete when you run and when you're in the weight room. Would you agree?
Totally. Yeah.
That's the secret, Hunter. But no one wants to do that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the same thing in financial planning. Like the sexy stuff people want to talk about, it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
But the thing that holds people back the most is the not sexy stuff. Making sure your insurance planning is in check. Have enough saved up in case things go sideways. And it's just going to literally sit there.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Just a cushion for like, oh shit, that's all it is. Your debt pay down. Like that's just not sexy stuff that you don't see on Instagram. That's the stuff that's going to turn the needle.
Right.
So we can keep playing this game, but like your potential's like capped. Right? So if you don't protect your income, like you are one paycheck away.
Yeah.
From like the rest of your life changing.
So
just wear your seatbelt, dude.
Yeah.
Like just that's the secret. I see a lot of people back stuff. They're like, no, I don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah. And it's just the simple stuff that like, obviously you need to pay your insurance and like plan for it, but people just don't want to do it.
No, because like I don't need insurance.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, that's the point in insurance. Like that's why it exists.
Right. Yeah.
Because shit happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. I mean, I could tell you, like, I know so many people that are just financially like illiterate. I know myself and most of my friend group, like with running a business, you get to learn the ropes and you learn.
That's a master's in business right there, dude.
Yeah.
Running a business.
Yeah. You get to learn the ropes of paying off debt, paying employees, planning for how much you can buy in materials and stuff. And then you got to quote a job. So then you got to make the cost of the job. You make money on top of
profit,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, so you can profit. Yeah. And so many people, I guess I'm lucky to have that experience where I got to do a bunch of that growing up, where I got to learn how to do that. Where there's so many people, I'm sure, that haven't gotten to have that experience that I did, where it's just second nature to me, like pay off the debt, save money. Like in my mind, I think of like, so I'll make money, say on a job. I charge $1,000 to a job. I have to pay $200. So I make $800. If I go out and like spend $500, I only think that I made $300. And that's the money I'm saving. I actually made the $800, but I'm saving $300 because I've spent $500. In my mind, saving is making money. If I'm not saving money, I'm not making any money.
So just flip the bookends. Just save $300 first.
Right. Yeah.
Just pay yourself first.
Exactly.
That's it. Pay or shoot yourself.
Yeah.
You're doing.
But I think
still spend $500.
But so many people don't get that, where it's like you need to save. They think that making their money is like, oh, I made the money, now I get to spend it. Whereas in my mind, it's like, oh, I didn't make any money if I spent it. I'm making money if I save it.
Yes.
which so many people don't get, I don't think.
No, they don't. And I think a lot of it just comes back to like their upbringing.
So simple. Yeah. And it's just their upbringing. Yeah. Cause I'm lucky to have the upbringing that I did where I get to think that way. And it's just a mindset.
Which you had tons of experience, it sounds like, in that space to where it like shapes how you do things.
Right.
Most people don't.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. What's an interesting experience that you've had with a client where it's like, I don't know if you can share many details of like debt and stuff like that, and where you really brought them out of a hole type of thing?
Yeah. I have some clients I work with. They're great people. And you know, like regular people, not over the top. They were doing fine. Just fine. Definitely could have improved. Definitely could have been worse. And like honestly, like the biggest recommendation to them, I'm not here to shit on Dave Ramsey. I'm really not. But they had $1,000 saved up.
Okay.
They had a mortgage, baby on the way, both working. Not a ton of debt, but like, right, you know, student debt, 25 grand, nothing crazy. And then like regular living bills, so on. I said, you guys realize you are like, one of you not getting a paycheck away. You need new brakes on your cars. The fridge goes out. You are one thing from being floored. Because if that happens, it's going to cost more than $1,000. And guess what you're doing? Swiping the credit card. You know what your rate is on credit card? Probably 20+%.
Yeah.
You know how that works? Like, you know how that works every month when you don't pay it?
So people don't. Yeah.
It literally gets bigger.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, in good standing, I can't even make any recommendations until you guys have more money saved up.
Right.
I don't get paid anything. I'm like, I'll check in with you guys, but like, we're not doing anything until you're at 10 grand.
Yeah.
A year later, some shit happened. Tree fell, power lines, blah, 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 whatever. Costed them $9,562.
Yeah.
Now, they were able to make it out and not spend the credit card.
Okay.
But by that point in time, they had the savings habit, like, every month they were saving X. So even though they were $9,562 less from their 10, they had like $400 left. They still had the discipline to like, well, we budget for X savings every month.
Yeah.
You know, so they could build it back up. And there's a little moment of time when it was like uncomfortable because they didn't have enough saved up, right? But they didn't have to go put 10 grand on the credit card.
Right.
And then dig themselves out of that hole. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's one example. Another more tactical example, client, mid-early 30s, good dude, living out in Cali, so like $150 is like 60 grand here.
Right. Totally different, yeah.
But he's making decent money. Saving 10% to his 401. Okay, good. His company matches him 10%. Like, shit, I don't see that often. Me being comprehensive, like, just send me your statement. Let me see your 401k. Let me just double check, make sure it's good. Turns out all of it was like sitting in like a money market. Look at cash.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, that's equivalent to money in your savings account, just sitting there.
Just gets an APY every year.
Yeah, it might have been like 3%, whatever it was. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. I did not reach out to you sooner. Like, it's been sitting in this. Between him and his company, he might have saved like 60 or 70 grand in 3 years.
Okay.
So like, he was doing it.
Yeah, he was saving a lot.
Profit sharing and all the above.
Yeah.
I'm like, did no one tell you about this? Like you're literally like just putting money in your bank account, equivalents, but you can't touch it until you're 59 and a half. Like that's
right.
That's the vehicle of a 401k. He's like, dude, I had no idea. I was like, we got to change this now. So like, if I wouldn't have connected with him, unless some other advisor would have got to him, or someone from the work plan would have reached out to him, I still think he might be in cash today. That was like 5 years ago. And he's making more money.
Okay.
Saving more. Like, when you elected your stuff on your benefits package, did anyone tell you how this worked? Like, you know, like it sounds really elementary, but that's the real world that I run into every day. And so we changed it, and he's diversified and we do some cool stuff, blah, blah, blah. So,
Gotcha.
um,
So his money was just in that one spot. That's what was happening with it?
he's just sitting there.
Okay.
Yeah, he's doing it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, like, if you have a 401k, like, make sure it's invested.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I guess I don't know how 401ks really work because I've never been employed or had a 401k.
Why would you know?
Yeah.
Fun fact, Section 401, subsection K,
Uh-huh.
IRS tax code.
Okay.
What movie is that with Will Ferrell and the gal from the makers of Office, Parks and Rec, Leslie Nope, that's her name. What's
Okay.
Amy, whatever her name is.
In The Office?
No,
You're thinking of? In this movie?
Parks and Rec, the show.
Oh, I haven't seen Parks and Rec. I've
Anyways.
seen all The Office.
Will Ferrell's in a movie and their mom and dad, and they're like, actually, no, we have $401,000. Say it says 401k. The guy's like, no, that's just what it is. You actually have like 19,000. Anyways, yeah. So 401k is just the vehicle
Okay.
that you save into.
Right.
It, by law, has to be an employer-sponsored plan. So to your point, never having a, quote, W-2 job,
Mm-hmm.
you never would have had one.
Right.
So those types of people get a 401k or a 403b.
Okay.
Same thing as a 401k. Section 403, subsection A. It's IRS tax code.
Gotcha.
401k is for profit. 403b is not for profit.
Mm. Okay.
That's it.
And both accounts would just be like you can invest it in anything type of thing?
It depends on, like, if I'm XYZ employer and I want to offer my employees a 401k, I go and get a 401k provider. Fidelity, Vanguard, whatever. And Fidelity does it.
Yeah.
Right. I will have a laundry list of investment options to choose from inside the chassis of the 401k as an employee. So there's like 20 options or 60 options. There's 4 options, whatever, whatever's worked out. And I can do 100% here, 20% there, 6% there, so on and so forth.
Gotcha. So it's pretty dumbed down for like people that just choose like, real estate type of thing, ETFs, mutual funds type of thing. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty simple in nature, but it's for people who don't know how, like, money in a nutshell, beyond like basic budgeting. They're like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Like, I get it, dude. Trust me. Like, I'm aware. There's plenty of things that when I go to my after visit summary from the doctor, half the time I'm like, what does this word mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like,
Yeah.
it's the same thing with that stuff. So that's where I come in, and I'm just speaking English. I'm like, it means your money's going to grow. It means it's aggressively invested. It means you're taking more risk. It means it's going to go up and down a lot.
Yeah.
Like, and it sounds elementary, but people are like, oh, okay, I get it now. There's way more to it, but like, that's all they need to know.
Right.
They don't do it every day like I do.
So are you on the, do you do a lot of the strategizing end, or do you have people that do that and then you just propose it to the people?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Both. Yeah. So with someone, if I have a client who has a 401k, I don't get paid on anything on it. Technically, I can't advise. I can just point things out. Say, hey, I noticed this. Do what you want with that information.
Okay.
But now, to your point of like, someone makes it for me, and then I recommend it.
Yeah.
I have that type of setup with my broker dealer, to be specific, which happens to be Northwestern Mutual.
Gotcha.
So I have access to what they can do on an institutional level, to then offer to clients.
Gotcha.
So like all of the research, qualification, selection analysis, rebalancing, which people are like, what do those mean? It's like, don't worry. You don't need to know. It means your money is being managed accordingly. And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
So I get all of that through.
Okay. Gosh, so they have like a team that kind of strategizes things and then gives you the info to then pass along to the...
Literally. It's exactly it. Yeah. It's a very dumbed down version. That's exactly it.
Yeah. And it's a dumbed down version, yeah, because I'm sure there's a bunch of software platforms that they're looking at.
That's at like the most basic level, that's exactly what it is. I'm not the one picking the fund, etc. They're doing all of it.
Yeah.
I'm just educated on what they're doing, why they're doing, how they're doing it.
Right.
The reasoning, the strategic, the tactical, the outlook. That's my job.
Gotcha.
To educate you on that.
Okay.
just so you know how your money's being managed in case you really care that much. But my job is more, it can be really like granular and tactical, but my job is more to like make sure you're just taking action on your goals. Saving for Johnny's education.
Yeah.
Make sure your insurances are in place, stuff like that.
Yeah. It's as simple as that. I feel like we didn't talk about like any of these questions that I gave you the list of.
Dude, we can talk more. I got nowhere to be.
Yeah, so I said Josh is a bunch of questions, and he sent me back I said, this kind of looks like a quiz.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch of questions. Like the first question I have says personal financial management. What are the most common mistakes people make in personal finance, and how can they avoid them? We kind of touched on that, but like he sent back like a paragraph thing of the whole answer, and I was like, shoot, like, is that how he's gonna like read it word for word, the answer?
Oh, I mean, we're kind of touching on all of it.
Yeah, I feel like we've covered so much stuff. I feel like the moral of the story is that people just have to be educated and learn the basics. There's just basics to,
I think,
planning.
kind of like with your health, sometimes you get reserved about it. Like if you're not in good health or something's wrong with your health, like pretty fair to very broadly say like you're probably going to be, quote, embarrassed or something about it. I think a lot of people feel that way about their finances, because they're independent now and they're like, shit, dude, like I really shouldn't have taken out those 60 grand of loans. Like I should really be saving more money. Like, you know, like, but they just don't do anything about it. Like, I think a lot of people know in like, when they really sit down, like they know what they should do. They just don't do it.
Yeah, you just gotta do it.
They don't have any accountability to do it.
And there's a lot of life things you gotta plan too for. Like I was thinking like that person that had the $1,000 in the bank account and now they're gonna have a kid. I wouldn't even think of having a kid if I have $1,000 in my bank account. Like that's not even in the deck of cards.
I see that so often too.
Like,
parents have a kid, plural, numerous kids, whatever. And I'm just encouraging them, like, guys, just literally stop investing your money with me and just save it. Like, I'll set up a bank account for you so you save into it.
Yeah.
And it's a savings account. That's all it is. Because you guys, you need that more. I have 3 kids, all under the age of 8. Like, I don't have kids, but I see enough to know they cost money. Like, you know, right? You like, I try to just brand myself as like just a modern day advisor. Like, I'm not in here trying to get rich. Like, I'm going to make more money than I can know what to do with long term. Like, I will. So a pretty simple person from like a lifestyle perspective. But it's like, who am I putting first in that context? Me. It's not about me. And I just want to help people do the things they want to do so they can arrive to a point in their life when they, like, people want to raise their kids so they don't go through what they went through as kids.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Like, that's the point in parenting. I think from a financial planning perspective, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, I want to be better than my parents were when they were my age. Yeah. Like, kind of similar. Like, it's kind of the point of like the generation that passes on in any context is like, leave it better than you inherited it. Like, that's the point. And you can leave your kids all the money in the world, but if you don't teach them what to do with it, it's meaningless. Totally. So, you know, once your kids are on their own 2 feet, they got to talk to an advisor. Might be basic, might be just abiding by a budget. Like, at that, like, whatever, like, it's very, you know, base level. You'd be shocked, man. You'd be shocked. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's a crazy world out there, dude. Oh yeah, it is. I'm sure. I'm going to say the most Midwestern thing, but I want to get that oil changed on the lawnmower here before it rains. Yeah. Dude. If it's going to rain. Yeah. So let's wrap it up with these couple questions. Yeah. Changing the oil on my lawnmower today. Hey, everyone, you got to do it. Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to do it. All right. Favorite place to eat? I'm assuming it's Coco's, but love Coco's. Might have a different place. Coco's is one of my go-tos for sure. In Oconomowoc. We'll just side note. Yeah. Side note. great spot there. Bella Gusto's another place that's in Oconomowoc.
Okay. Have you been to Lago Sabella in Oconomowoc?
Yet.
I need to go there. I've had that recommended by a few guests.
I've heard. It's a good spot, I hear.
Yeah.
So that's next on my list to try out.
I need to try too.
But Coco's is for sure spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mhm.
All right. Where are you always interested in being an expert, or were you always interested in becoming an expert in the financial industry?
Not really. No.
Because you're a soccer coach.
Mm-hmm. The more I do this, the more intrigued I get at like how much I just really don't know.
Yeah.
There is so much to know.
Mhm.
So much. And it's humbling. Like it's humbling every day.
And overwhelming some days.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I say to clients, like, you know what, that's a great question, Hunter. I'm gonna find out.
Yeah.
And like I get excited.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, I stumbled across something I don't know. This is cool. I get to go and learn more about something that's actually meaningful. You know?
Yeah, and it'll help somebody too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah, it wasn't originally what you wanted to do when you were younger. So related to that question is, what did you want to be when you grew up when you were younger?
Yeah, soccer player. Everyone.
Yeah, soccer player.
So what I said about like finding your passion and stuff, like I think it's just bullshit. Like I don't think you realize or find your passion. Like your passion is probably something you're good at, I guess. And you don't get good at something until you do it a lot. And to get good at something, you have to do it a lot, but you have to suck at one point in time, hence the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you have to start. So you got to start. You're going to suck when you start at something. You're going to do it a lot and get better. Then you're going to get good at it. Then you'll like it and you'll enjoy it. And then it becomes your passion.
Right.
Like that's the end,
Uh-huh.
not the start.
Yeah.
So, like the whole find your passion thing, like never, when I was 21, 10 years ago, I never thought I'd be here.
Right.
No way. I'm a college soccer coach for sure.
Uh-huh.
For sure.
Yeah.
And here I am.
Yeah. And financial planning is something that you can plan for in the future, but your job and your passion isn't something you can plan for.
There's a lot of trade-offs from the past life too, because when I played and coached, like I came out of that experience because I was a team captain, blah, 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 with a really big appreciation for like training, strategic planning, calling things in advance. This is like terminology for what I do now, but like arriving well positioned, being ready for the unknown. We trained for this. We're not going to be rattled when things don't go our way because we're prepared, blah, blah. Like that experience kind of transcends into what I do now.
Okay.
And I came out of that experience into it here with like an appreciation truly of like, no, there's like this shit matters, dude. Like it really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool little iteration of it.
Well, yeah, there's so many analogies that you can make, like to compare one thing to another. I've heard one about like woodworking. In high school, I was a big woodworker. My dad's a big woodworker. My grandpa's a huge woodworker. Yeah. And like building like anything in woodworking is just like a business. Like you start with the legs, which could be like your first client or something like that. Then you have to build it out, and then you grow into where you wanted to be, that main goal of like the table being done or the business, like to where you wrote on your piece of paper where you want it to be. It's as simple as that, but there's steps that you have to take to get there in order to be able to get to your goal. Same thing with the table, same thing with the business.
And like no one ever sees how late you are up working on it, how many times you messed up and started again.
Right.
Like how many times you're like, I gotta draw this out again. Again.
Yeah.
Like erase it again. I gotta get a different type of wood.
Yeah.
Like no one sees all that. They only see
finished product,
the table. It's all they see.
And that's the overnight success. What took you one day to build a table?
Piss someone off. Easy for you to say, God. It's like, oh, motherfucker, don't you dare.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
That's why I never rip on somebody that like has a bunch of money or is successful, because you have no idea what they did to get.
Because at one point in time, whether it was them or someone in their family, at one point in time, that wealth did not exist for that person or that family.
Right.
Someone changed it.
Right.
Someone did something, and they took a risk. They dared. Are you familiar with the Man in the Arena?
No.
Write it down.
Okay.
Man in the Arena, Theodore Roosevelt.
Okay.
It's a quote, and I don't know it because it's like literally a paragraph.
Okay.
It's It talks about like the person who's the most like appreciative, the person who deserves the most credit is like the man in the arena who's scarred and marred, blood on his face, and like is willing to like dare and like try and like fail and get up again in front of everyone.
Yeah.
Not the one who like never wanted to, was too scared to.
Watching the person in the arena.
That person in the arena.
Yeah.
That really deserves all the credit.
Uh-huh.
Because they're failing, but they're not. They just keep learning.
Right.
They just keep getting those reps. They just keep getting those reps. And that person who never tries never gets that.
Totally.
And so, like, the story of someone's life kind of tells you that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the older you get.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well,
I'll just look up that quote.
Because you're 22. I'm excited when you're like 28, when you're 30.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just with all the experience you've had and what you're currently doing at your age, so valuable, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you may not feel like you're making, I'm like encouraging you. Like, the progress you may feel you're not making, you're making so much.
Yeah.
So much. Like,
Thanks.
Experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. And like, I feel like you get that probably every day.
Mm-hmm.
I know I do.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
No, totally.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Something interesting or fun fact about you.
What did I write something down?
I don't know. I honestly didn't read over because I was like, you filled out this whole sheet. I'm not even going to look at it.
Something interesting.
This is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not super interesting. I'm not that person who talks about it because I don't like to be the stereotype, but I used to do a lot of CrossFit.
Okay.
Had a hip injury deal going on, had some shoulder stuff going on, so like I'm kind of taking a break from that just to like let my body heal.
Yeah.
Fan.
Nice.
But I was like very avid into it.
Okay.
I was quite good for being an average Joe, I would say, if you quantify being good at fitness. Love coffee.
Okay.
Love coffee. Like, if my face is red right now, probably because I drank too much coffee today. So, closet coffee connoisseur, closet beer connoisseur.
Okay.
Anything health and wellness, I'm pretty much all in. Chelsea FC in London, that's my team.
Yeah. Some big soccer fans still watching it.
Oh, I get to be a fan.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to watch. I still do because it's who I am for so long in my life. Like, read the game and tactically and stuff. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but I get to just be a fan.
Yeah.
I get to just turn the game on and turn the game off.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like once, twice a week, whatever. I get to do that, and I missed being a fan of the thing I love.
Okay.
When I was coaching it.
Yeah.
Because I was always coaching it and analyzing and this and that, and like I couldn't turn on the Chelsea game and enjoy it.
Right.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I never think about that, you know?
Yeah.
Now I can't.
Huh.
And I'm finally back to it. And it's so nice.
There we go.
It's so nice.
That's awesome. Heck yeah. All right. Advice for young people.
I think I wrote that one down, right?
Sure you did. You got it prepared.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In life, we must choose our regrets. You choose the pain of discipline or the pain of regret.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think like just reframing it as like you get to choose versus it happens, I think changes a lot for people personally.
Yeah.
But that was one of a quote I heard a while back. I'm like, in life, we must choose our regrets. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many ways you can go with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would more broadly say to a young person, like, just be curious. I never thought I'd be in the role I'm in now. Like, ask questions, explore things that are new. Even if you don't think you're going to like it, try it. Try that internship.
Mm-hmm.
Be unequivocal that you know you don't like that.
Yeah.
You know, like, but don't say you don't know you don't like it because like you never tried it. I don't like pickles. I have tried pickles.
Yeah.
Like, I've tried them, bro. Like, I've tried to, like, I don't like them. Same with ketchup. Same with mustard.
Okay.
And they change.
Yeah.
And I can say that because I've tried. Like, but I'm not just going to broadly say, like, I don't like mayonnaise.
Yeah.
I've never tried mayonnaise.
Mm-hmm.
I have. Mayonnaise is, like, iffy, but
Okay.
You get my point.
Yeah,
Don't knock something until you try it,
totally.
you know, and I think there has to be a certain level, and I see it too often of like, someone will come to me as a newer advisor and want to pick my brain on something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my God, let me close my computer. Let me stop everything I'm doing. Let me talk. Let me tell you all about this.
Yeah.
And I do that because I don't want you to go through what I went through. Because what I went through was fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, here's the thing. You don't have to. Because I can just tell you what not to do. I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you what not to do. I see it so often that people just don't want to do that. They don't want to give it back. Like, they don't want to help other people win.
Yeah.
Because there's like this threat of like, you're my competition. But like, I think that it's the truth. One of my good buddies, Matt Wilsneck, he said this to me. He said, you know how like the rising tide lifts all boats?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I want to be the one pouring the water in the ocean that lifts all the boats.
Huh.
I was like, whoa, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And like, that's the point of what I'm getting at is, I just think if you just create that good narrative around what you do, give back. Like I think good things happen to good people.
Yeah.
More often than not.
Mm-hmm.
Bad things happen to good people too. Good things happen to bad people too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more likely that good things happen to good people.
Right.
In my opinion. Right. And
Yeah.
there's no like proof to that. I just kind of a feeling I have.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll get that oil changed. Thanks for coming on the podcast, dude. That was so fun.
Yeah.
Great
Good.
to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.